Doing good.
We saw you out there running after practice. What was the reason for that?
Yeah, we got a standard we try and hold in the DB room, in the corner room. Got to make plays on the ball and all that good stuff. So when we fall short of that, best way to do it is add to the conditioning.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the defense beat the offense, so your group wasn't part of the victory as far as you're concerned?
I'd say if anything, the offense and defense make each other better, right? It just so happens. Say it again. DRE, yep. It just so happens that some of these days, right, there may look like one guy has the advantage or one side of the ball has the advantage, but it's the best work we can get, especially when your opponent knows everything that you do, knows you from the inside and out. You got to be at your best, execute your technique and assignment all the time. So I'd say, if anything, it was a draw.
In your second year now, you've added special teams coordinator.
Yeah.
What's that been like, and I guess what do you want to emphasize this year?
Yeah, absolutely. Funny enough, it goes back to the principles and fundamentals this program is built on with Coach Foster. Discipline, respect, and enthusiasm. That applies to everything you do, especially special teams. When you look at how those plays change games, especially given that they're only one-play drives every single time, you got to play it and take it and be disciplined in every single approach. You got to respect the importance of it, and then special teams is the most enthusiastic play because you get to swing games so much. So that's how we do it.
The field goals obviously last year were an issue, but it seems like so far in practice there's been some nice improvement.
Yeah, that was definitely a focus going into spring ball for us. Try and improve in areas where we can directly impact the game. Obviously, field goal block, you got an opportunity to score points or erase points, and that's what we were trying to do. So anytime that unit walks out there, we're thinking, let's put ourselves in position to score, really change the outcome of the game.
Who's the kind of one's long snapper right now?
Yeah, so we're working with two really good guys. We got Salem Wahab, you know what I'm saying? Then we got Marcus McNeil. Those two guys are battling it out, doing a really good job. We had some departures just through some changes and things like that, but as always, and probably in every program, you're always going to say the next man up. And those dudes have done a tremendous job so far.
And then punting-wise, it seems like Chase Berry's had some nice consistency and hit some long ones.
Yeah, Chase comes back with some experience. But I think the coolest thing we do is we have all of our kickers be punters. So there is no P only on the depth chart. It's K/P for all those guys. Because they got to be able to do both. If guys can do more like Coach Foster says, then we're going to be in a good spot.
How's your depth at cornerback right now? How are you feeling?
Yeah, we're returning some good guys with a lot of experience. You got Jalen Davies, who's obviously in a new number. You guys have seen that. We got Devin Kirkwood, Kanye Clark, who's a young guy, got earned a scholarship, got put on and all that stuff. Two young guys that we're bringing in, Jameer Benjamin, Christian Dunbar Hawkins. You got Evan Thomas, who's a guy who's been here, as long as I have been. Comes with a ton of experience, and Marquise Villahermosa. All these guys, top to bottom, have been competing, making plays on the ball in spring, so I'm really pleased with that.
Coach mentioned Benjamin. We asked him for some guys who stood out.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
In what way?
Absolutely. I mean, this guy brings a toughness. Part of it is probably because he's from Michigan. Guys joke all around and say he's from different parts of Michigan, but we know he's from Lansing. That dude comes in and has a toughness about him. If there's anyone not concerned about Big Ten travel, it would be him.
So Devin Kirkwood, last season kind of came on towards the end of the season. How's he building on top?
Yeah, he picked up where he left off, which was huge for him. You got a big, long corner like that. You expect him to be physical, and he's checked that box. And now all those small skill guys who are challenging his speed, his quickness, and all that stuff, he's coming to that test too and answering the bell. So he's doing really good.
Is Shay Pitts better MC or is he better analyst for you?
Yeah, Shay Pitts has been tremendous. A guy who's played pretty much every position in defense except his hand in the ground is able to relate to all those dudes. Even on the MC stuff, he does great. He's a ton of energy and all that. So if I'm ever lacking, I could just turn to him and have him get those guys going.
Early last season, we saw quite a bit of your passion come out.
Yeah.
For one practice.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned, you can't want it more than them.
Yeah.
How do you think those words, impacted your group?
Yeah, I think throughout the course of last season, you got to see that too. The ebbs and flows of the year, right? Defense performing well sometimes, defense not performing well sometimes. Offense going through their growing pains, figuring out who's going to control, and command the ship and all that stuff. I think in all of it, right, the best run teams are the ones that are run by the players, right? And that's ultimately what that message is about. So then take Coach Foster's message of discipline, respect, and enthusiasm. The ones who are policing that the most and demanding that the most, and this year are the players, and that's how you want it to be.
I guess the big question on defense is, can you replicate the pass rush of last year? But as far as the corners go, how can you help with that, and how much more pressure does that put on the corners to contribute?
Absolutely. Just like you said, I mean, the pass rush last year was amazing. right? But we always believe pass rush and coverage go hand in hand. So as much as Latu is my best friend, I wish him all the success in these coming days, right? I'd like to think the DBs and specifically the corners had a hand in holding up just long enough for him to get home and make some of those amazing moves. So that's our emphasis going into this year too, is understanding that coverage, pass rush work together. There is going to be no drop off in the sense that, hey, it was all down to one player, right? The scheme doesn't change. If anything, the guys going out there playing the game, they should have a little more confidence in that this is their second year doing it.
Coach Malloy, is there a big difference between the way he's running the defense and Coach Len?
Yeah, it's all perspective, right? Coach Len comes from a secondary background. Coach Malloy comes from a D-line background. So there's going to be some tweaks, some different points of emphasis. But generally, you know, I'd say we've been pleased with how guys have been able to make that transition no matter who's been calling it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah,
nice to
you.
see y'all again.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. See ya.
Yeah.